Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Troy. Some breaking news here. The International Criminal Court, the ICC, has formally issued arrest warrants for Vladimir Putin and for his Children's Rights Commissioner, Malia Alexeyevna, for abducting Ukrainian children and putting them either in camps or taking them to Russia, basically kidnapping Ukrainian children. This is the first official international recognition of war crimes, of crimes against humanity in the Ukraine conflict against the Russian government, against Russian forces in Ukraine. This is the result of a year-long investigation by the ICC, and they are today issuing formal arrest warrants for crimes against humanity against Vladimir Putin and his Children's Rights Commissioner for abducting children in Ukraine. Now, the International Criminal Court is an NGO. It's a non-governmental organization that operates on an international basis. So participation in the ICC and recognition of its authority is really up to individual nations. And of course, Russia does not recognize the authority of the ICC to have any sort of legal authority over Russian citizens to be able to issue any kind of warrant for any arrest in Russia. So Russia's not recognizing the authority of the ICC to do this at this point, while Putin is in charge, is president of Russia, is safely within Russia's borders. The ICC arrest warrants have no bearing on him whatsoever. It would take Putin being arrested by the Ukrainians or surrendering or something else happening for these charges to really have any kind of effect on Vladimir Putin. So they're mainly symbolic at this point, but it is a very, very strong symbolic message sent by the ICC, recognizing that human rights abuses have been committed by Russia in Ukraine, specifically related to the abduction of Ukrainian children. Again, these charges have no formal standing unless somehow Vladimir Putin is deposed, is removed from power, is handed over to the Ukrainians, or some other situation occurred where he loses legal protection. Then he could, in theory, be charged, have these warrants be assessed and be charged with crimes against humanity in the International Criminal Court. So really, really interesting stuff here. Breaking news. Finally, the wheels of justice are in motion for this despicable regime and their war of choice in Ukraine. But I can't help but thinking that the charges that they're bringing against Vladimir Putin for taking children away from Ukrainians, and it's been absolutely despicable. They've been placing them in camps. This children's rights minister actually appeared on television saying that she had adopted a 15-year-old child from Mariupol, saying now that she knows what it means to be the mother of a child from Donbass. I mean, the Russians have not been secretive about the fact that they are stealing Ukrainian children. Just absolutely disgusting what they've been doing here. But I can't help but think that this is not all that dissimilar from Donald Trump's border policy, his zero tolerance border policy, where we were taking the children of migrants at the border. We were stopping migrants at the southern border, taking their children and deporting the parents, essentially keeping migrant children in detention centers while we deported their parents, which is tantamount to kidnapping, because the Trump administration lost contact with those parents while we held on to their children. We essentially took their children away from them. Upwards of thousands of children taken, 3,000 children taken at the southern border, not reunited with their parents. The Biden administration has been working to reunite those children with their parents. Also similar to what Greg Abbott has done in Texas, deporting kidnapping migrants, shipping them to other states. What DeSantis did in Florida, taking migrants that were coming from Texas that were supposed to be going to relatives or friends in Florida, people that they had identified that they as contacts in the United States. These were asylum seekers. These were people entering the United States legally. They had entered on their asylum paperwork that they were going to Florida to be united with friends or family in Florida. DeSantis rerouted those people to Martha's Vineyard. That's what happened with that Martha's Vineyard case. Also sending them to the Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C., where Kamala Harris lives. Just political stunts, but essentially kidnapping and human trafficking migrants from the southern border who were seeking asylum in the United States, which is a completely legal way to enter the United States. Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis and others complicit in human trafficking and abduction of these migrants. And of course, Donald Trump guilty of kidnapping migrant children at the southern border as part of his zero tolerance policy. So the International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant for Vladimir Putin, not necessarily for war crimes, not necessarily for bombing cities and civilians and killing in civilian casualties, which they very well may do. That may be the next that may be the next part of this investigation. All indications are that this is an ongoing investigation, that this will not be the only charges brought against Putin and his regime. But they are very specifically honing in on these aspects, this child abduction aspect of the Ukrainian war that once again the Russians have not been secretive about. They've been broadcasting that. So if that's their focus, if that's the International Criminal Court's focus is the abduction of children, they should really be taking a hard look at Donald Trump and what he did at the southern border of the United States, at the Mexican border, to migrant children and migrant families who were legally seeking asylum in the United States. They should be considering crimes against humanity charges against Donald Trump and Jeff Sessions and Stephen Miller and everyone that was involved in crafting that zero tolerance policy, which is essentially legalized kidnapping, child abduction, and human trafficking at the southern border of the United States. So interesting news today. Warrants issued for the arrest of Vladimir Putin. We'll see what comes of this. Mostly a symbolic gesture at this point. Unless things turn really bad for Putin in this war, then those charges could actually be brought forth and he could actually have to face justice for his war of choice, his war of aggression in Ukraine. For MeidasTouch, this is Troy. Remember, smash that subscribe button to keep supporting independent media.
Our blue wall stopped the red wave and election deniers got denied election. That's why we're celebrating with the new Democracy Prevails team. We've got lots of work to do, but we should all be proud that when democracy was tested, democracy prevailed. You've earned this. Don't wait. Get yours right now at store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.